How do we let go of all this frustration and fear? Ask an archer. They'll tell you the first step to hitting the bullseye is taking careful aim. But I gotta warn you, there's a price we pay for that. It's not for the faint of heart. Us big kids call it mindfulness. You see, every time we inhale, we effortlessly and automatically access our sympathetic nervous system. Ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord, it's wired to not to help us to actively concentrate. Au contraire, it's wired to help us to perceive. Well, what's so scary about that? Ha ha ha! It helps us to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. These aren't necessarily the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but they are the four horsemen of inconvenience and discomfort. I'll give you that much. We can notice all sorts of things. We can notice appearances, resonance, sensation, flavor, fragrance, and the like. We can notice emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. We can notice the external or the internal, the physical or the mental, the pleasurable or the painful, the interesting or the boring, the glorious or the grotesque. Well, is that it? So what if we've noticed the profundity and the depths of our anxiety or our frustration? How does that help? Well, that leads us to meditation. You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within both the lumbar region of our lower spinal cord, as well as the cervical region at the tippy top of the self-same spinal cord. So what? Well, it's evolved to support our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. Well, so many people with bad haircuts and odd garments tell me that I have to master the idiosyncrasies and intricacies of cryptic philosophies. How many lifetimes will that take? Well, when you read the Buddha's Satipatthana Sutta, we find out it can take as little as 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. Which infers that gaining a PhD in cryptic philosophy is not a prerequisite to letting go, which really is quite nice. But let's take a deeper look, shall we? Let us consider the 12-syllable contemplation of inhalation, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. Consider, if you will, this couple copulating in a distinctly tantric manner. The gown, the color of a cumulus cloud, is depicted as sporting in wanton abandon. Well, okay, that seems to be a way of illustrating the playfulness of mind. Cool. But what about exhalation? Relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. Her partner is completely not intimidated by her spontaneity. He's just kicking back and enjoying the ride. Forgive me while I blush. So let's take a closer look at the phrase non-graspable. My friends, it is not our job to rigidly and superstitiously believe in the literal non-graspability of our mind, nor is it our job to pseudo-intellectually strive to convince ourselves and others that mind and all its experiences are literally non-graspable. Folks, we cannot believe or think our way out of experience. Like a cat whose head is stuck in a half-eaten bag of Doritos, we cannot use logic or emotion to extricate ourselves. But I've got some good news for you. Way back in the 4th grade, years before the release of Star Wars, when the crust of the earth was still cooling, I was taught that not all statements are literal. Some are simile, some are metaphor, some are hyperbolic. And so all the mysterious statements of Buddhism, the key to understanding all the mysterious statements of Buddhism is metaphor. So think of it this way. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, as the illusion of the infinite azure sky in a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, as non-graspable as birthlessness, as non-graspable as deathlessness, as non-graspable as selflessness. All the wisdom metaphors of Buddhism open themselves up when we explore the possibility that they are not literal. So instead of believing that that the objects of our frustrations are not real, instead of believing that the objects of our fears are not real, as we breathe in, we can vulnerably notice whatever we're experiencing, regardless of whether it's realistic or not. And as we exhale, we can get out of our own way and allow our body to physically relax. Physical relaxation acts sort of like a carrier wave upon which our mental release can surf, hang ten, and scream cowabunga. Well, how long does this have to take? Well, as I mentioned a few moments ago, according to the Buddha, who is rumored to know a thing or two about meditation, it does not have to take the length of the birth and death of 3 universes. It does not have to take 7 lifetimes. In fact, it's possible to do it in as little as a week. I look forward to meditating and chanting with you after about 40 seconds of housekeeping. Wrong button. Let's try this again. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day studying and practicing and then reverse engineering all the teachings and all the techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. I play the Yoda to your Luke Skywalker so that you can easily and quickly become the person that your dog already thinks you are. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So, if enlightenment is simply the mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, then I have organized, or I should say adapted and amplified this ancient text, moderately ancient text, in light of the Eightfold Path so that you can master it in a week. This text is known as Dujum Lingpa's Tersar Ngondro. It was written by this fellow here. It was translated under the supervision of Chagdud Tulku, and it's been adapted and amplified by this big-nosed bagel eater, what sits before you. So there are 3 ways of explaining the Buddha, actually 4 ways of explaining the Buddha's path. Sutric contemplations, Maha Yoga Mantra contemplations, Ana Yoga energy work, and Ati Yoga meditation. So we're going to start with some Anu Yoga Tantra's energy work. And we're playing with this not literally, but figuratively. So no, there's no need for superstition. And quick like a bunny, I'm going to copy this for later. Let's quick like a bunny There we go. Hit copy and come back to that. Excellent. So here's a quick rule of thumb. Whenever the heading is white, remember a white fluffy cloud in the sky overhead, and put your puckered palms over your head together. Homage, O Lama, please come to this crown. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Homage, O Lama, please come to this crown. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Homage, O Lama, please come to this crown. O infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Now it's time for this evening's first meditation. We're going to start with 2 metaphoric training wheels, resulting in a clunky exercise that I like to call the 12-syllable exercise. As we inhale, we can silently and mentally recite perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. Behold, there is no visualization required, there is no concentration required, there is no belief required. We're simply silently and mentally reciting words in harmony with our breathing. Let's take now together as a team. Let us meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa on Ajahn Claus under the guidance of Luke Skywalker. I wish to give credit where credit is due. I was introduced to this idea originally by the late Tulku Thondop. I was introduced to this idea by the chondro of the late Chagdud Tulku. If you've just joined us, welcome aboard. If at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply it to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Mindfulness and meditation are known by many names, such as Satipasati, Zen, Proto-Zen, Chan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, and Treksho. And this particular style of meditation, which is not concentration, really makes things more efficient. For instance, I was taught originally by well-meaning fundamentalists to spend years in contemplation, and then and only then could I practice Mahamudra. But other teachers from other sects said, no, practice the Mahamudra, practice the Mahasandhi right away, and it will throw your contemplation into overdrive, which is what is going to happen right now. And so instead of spending 6 months contemplating our precious human life in the hopes that it'll nurture our joyful enthusiasm, which is the 6-fold of the 8-fold path, we're just going to recite this sentence 3 times and then go back into meditation and let our subconscious do the heavy lifting for us. My friends, welcome to the lazy bastard path of enlightenment. Now, the heading here is blue. So we're going to remember there's a phrase from Europe, the blue bloods, or something like that. So we're going to place our puckered palms before our sternum together. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. So now we're going to remove the first of 2 metaphoric training wheels and reduce our meditation exercise from 12 syllables down to just 3. As we breathe in, notice this. As we exhale, relaxing. Guys, laziness is fun. And if all you do is work with this 3-syllable exercise, that's enough. And 99% of the time. But sometimes it can feel like really intense experiences are grabbing us by the lapel and shaking us like a French au pair. And when that happens, rather than repress what's going on or indulge what's going on, rather than having a meltdown or a shutdown, we can actually harness this dynamic momentum through the cunning use of words. When I was a little boy, back in the early 70s and late 60s, Star Trek was the name of the game. And every episode, Captain Kirk would either kiss or talk his way out of trouble. Let us never underestimate the power of words. Now, it's not our job to get obsessive and compulsive about this and try to be perfectionistically pick the right label for the right experience. It's okay. Be sloppy. Be intuitive. You'll either get accuracy or you'll get experience, both of which will help. And yes, there are times where I purport myself as if I was the love child between Robin Williams and a Muppet. Because according to the teachings of Dudjom Rinpoche, or Dudjom Jigdral Rinpoche, the Dzogchen Naljor is spontaneous, joyful, carefree, and at ease. If you meet a Dzogchen teacher who is cranky and his face looks like he's been sucking on lemons and not in the fun dingly way, then find yourself a happy one. We come to the second sutra recitation, where of impermanence, a key to the wisdom of letting go, the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Together. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Yes. Someone stuck in patriarchy will use this to try to scare you into bending to their will, which really sucks. Someone who is on the path of matriarchy will say, hey, impermanence is all around us. We see it all the time. We see the impermanence of a season. We see the impermanence of the moon, going, waxing and waning. We see the impermanence of the sun rising and setting. We see the impermanence of our lungs, inhaling and exhaling. I should say the impermanence of breath. So we don't, just like the Blue Oyster Cult saying, don't fear the Reaper, we don't need to fear death but we can learn from it. What's the lesson of death? Impermanence makes holding onto something eternally an impossibility. And now, at long last, we remove the second of the two metaphoric training wheels and jump down to the one-syllable exercise. As we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which is a synonym for relax. Now, when reducing three-syllable labels to one-syllable labels, we take poetic license. So when we refer to physical sensations, we could use the label form. When we refer to emotional sensations, we can use the label feel. When we refer to memory, we can use the preposition then. And when we refer to imagination, we could use the verb dream. Remember, my friends, Einstein is credited with having quipped, any educated idiot can make things more complicated, more difficult, and more violent. However, it takes a lot of courage and a little bit of genius to move in the opposite direction. It's the majority. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything is crap, including meditation teachers. You can find people who will make it just as difficult as possible, but just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's effective. Ask any coach, they'll tell you. So yes, enlightenment can be just as easy as this. We don't need to keep our eyes open. We don't need to keep our eyes closed. We don't need to focus at the sky. We do not need to focus at the horizon. We do not need to focus at the earth. We can simply do what our body tells us to do. And with my sinusitis, I like to close these eyes. The third sutra recitation of interdependence, a key to loving kindness, which is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And actually, I'm going to do this is an editing opportunity, not a boo-boo, not a mistake, an editing opportunity. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to call this Wishing Love. Here we go. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. Once again, patriarchy says, ooh, be scared, hell awaits, it's hot. Matriarchy says, dude, this is exciting. You don't have to use your arms to hit people and shove people. You can use your arms to hug people. Isn't that a fun way of looking at causality? Our choices have the ability to make others happier. Woohoo. button 9, and hopefully everything will be copacetic. We come to the fourth sutra recitation of stress, a key to compassion. Once again, the second fold of the Eightfold Path, because fully experiencing our stress gives us greater empathy to other people's stress. When we feel stress, we cannot help but feel, this sucks, I'd like it to stop. Well, guess what? Other people feel the same way about their stress. Let's chant. The three realms we experience. Let's try that again. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. Under this brilliant physicist who has a speech impediment and kind of sounds like Elmer Fudd. And if I listen to him, I begin to sound like him, because that's one of the wonders of autism. I'm kind of ticky tonight. That's one of my. When people who are neurodivergent contract Epstein's bars, we wind up being ticky and tremory, and we walk like Quasimodo. So if I'm ticky tonight, please don't take that personal. We come to the fourth sutra recitation of supplication, a key to enthusiasm, the sixth fold of the Eightfold Path. So I keep tying this back to the Eightfold Path so you get the idea that this is a complete practice. There's always some schmo who wants to give you a new empowerment and a new practice, and sometimes they'll trick you because they'll use a vocabulary word you may not be familiar with from a different language, from a country you don't live in, and try to confuse you and say, oh, you have to start from scratch, and for one low fee of all your time and energy, I'll help you. This is a complete practice. You have arrived. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this, may my mind turn toward Dharma. Come to the sixth sutta recitation of seeking refuge, a key to right enthusiasm's sixth fold of the Eightfold Path, together. From now until I reach a very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the three jewels. Here's all it means. If your teacher is a good teacher, then he has made a habit out of relying on the Buddha's example and applying the Buddha's teachings and learning from the Buddha's students. That's nothing mysterious. Really, becoming a Lama is nothing special. Most people are considered a Lama after their first 3 retreat. And listen, man, there are a bunch of shit-headed Lamas wandering about. I promise you. There's nothing mystic here. It's just some bloke or a bloquette trying their best to master their teachings and help others do likewise. The teachings are difficult to master from the worldview of yin. But through the worldview of yang, it's an impossibility, according to the founder of Dzogchen, Prahevajra. We come to the 8th Sutra recitation of generating conventional bodhicitta right intentions secondfold. Une, deux, trois. Together. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. We come to Tantras, a mandala offering, training in generosities, kindness, of communication, conduct, and commerce, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives to the three jewels. Notice this is white, so our hands are going to be like clouds overhead. Dorje Samba inseparable from my Lama is... Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Okay. Let's see if I get this straight. I want to go over here and fix this bad boy. Paste. Now go over here and fix this bad boy. Ooh, good grief. Let's not do that. Here we go. Paste. Okay, and return over here. Grab this thing. Hit cut. And grab this thing. And hit cut again. Okay. Let's make sure the display is copacetic. Here we go. Dorje Sapa inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. Dorje Sapa inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. Dorje Sapa inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation. Could feel as non-graspable as a vastum void. Could feel as non-graspable as a vastum void. Could feel as non-graspable as a vastum void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn. Which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Now let's rest the mind. So here's the basic paradigm. We're going to play with the Wisdom of Letting Go's Mahayoga Tantra. So far we've played with Anu Yoga's energy work, and we've played with Ati Yoga's meditation. Now we're going to play with mantra meditation. We're going to play with two styles of rhetorical questions, an extensive one that we chant verbally, and a very, very concise one that we recite silently and mentally. They are the same question. How is it that as we inhale, all calm and lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid, yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. So as we inhale, we silently and mentally recite the question. It's rhetorical, so we don't have to strive to answer it. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can while chanting this 6-syllable mantra. And that is going to multiply your wisdom of letting go. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. Please do not be shy. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Unless you're watching a replay, then you type your question in the comment area, if you please. Whoops, look at that. Let's hit that. Whoops. How is it that as we inhale, all common bodies or forms could feel quite sensual, yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined octopoietum of light. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. And we're not lying to ourselves and pretending that circumstances or bodies or the interpersonal or the mental don't exist. We're simply exercising the ability to notice them and let go of them. That's the key to being a happy, healthy, well-adjusted adult. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manma Siri Hum, Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manma Siri Hum, Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manma Siri Hum. Oopsie, sorry, that's my mistake. Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum, Om Vajra Sarva Hum. So, 90% of the teachers out there are going to tell you that you got to visualize. It's all about visualizing, pretending that all circumstances are perfect, that all bodies are perfect, that all relationships are perfect, and that all minds are perfect. But no, thank you. The minority of teachers who are on the path of yin will say, no, this mantra work, these are just metaphors designed to help us practice awareness and letting go, or love and letting go. The late tutor to the 14th Dalai Lama insisted that Tantra is based on sutra with which it must never contradict. Well, in sutra, we take the 4 bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental, and we, bring it into the paths of love and letting go. So, Buddha didn't teach concentration or visualization. He taught love and letting go. So all this radical doing who's sitting before you, it's following the teachings of my spiritual heroes who started off fundamentalist, but then became liberal as they got older. The scales fell from their eyes, as it were. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 Om Vajra Sattva. Whoops, that was interesting. Let's make sure that everything's copacetic. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of common communication or speech could be quite resounding? I'm going to increase the rate. Yet as we relax into a purifying exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. One time I was in a toxic relationship with a real narcissist who every night, like clockwork, would just try to pick a fight with me. And then they got the ideas. We'd fight, we'd make up, and we'd hump. That got old so fast. So while this individual was just, waxing eloquent about how I truly was the second coming of Satan, I'd sit there and silently and mentally recite how speech heard yet void-like mantra. Just do my best to use it as a contemplative opportunity. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 Om Vajra Sattva. So there's always a way to make something more complicated and unmanageable. But there's also always a way to make something more simple and completely cryptic. And so what I've tried to do, my friends, is find the happy medium between elaborate and cryptic, so that you can get the essence of you can master the essence of the Eightfold Path as quickly and as easily as possible. Life's full of stress. You don't need any more from me. Aha. And we'll hit copy. How is it that as we inhale we could perceive minds... How is it that as we inhale we could perceive minds calm and functions clearly? Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seed-suitable hum of light. Om Vajra Sattva, 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 puckered palms before our sternum. Dissolving into light diamond, my mother and father blend with me in experience of heart's oneness. How am I like torching Alshore in the sky in front of me? Maru Lama could appear in the form of Padmakara. Right here, notice there's that couple, that humping couple again. Okay. And there they are. This is when, if I was really cool, I'd have a button that would play Yakety Sax from the Benny Hill Show. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the three times most excellent Lama, I pray to you. Hold me with your compassion in this and future lives, and in the Bardo bless me always throughout the three times. So we're going to play with mantra meditation again. Instead of working with the wisdom of letting go, we're working with, instead of working with awareness and letting go, we're working with love and letting go. Let's dig in. Notice our hands are before our sternum now because we're working with blue. May all circumstances or lots of all beings know have their safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, per land or vanity. Omahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Omahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Umomahum Vajraguru Manmaziri Omahum 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 Vajraguru Manmaziri May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist art of the blissful body of a yeardom of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Umahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri Umomahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri Umomahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri Umomahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri One time I was speaking to a Buddhist fundamentalist who's very, very sectarian and elitist. And she said, "Oh, you can't use a Nyingma Lama because they were overcome by the Bonpas for about 100 years, thus proving that their lineage must have been corrupt." I was like, dude, you just got kicked out of your own damn country by the Red Chinese. What does that say about your lineage? So let us set aside the victim blaming of the elitists. Umahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri 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 May all relationships of all beings know be as loving and joyful as a real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 12-syllable mantra. Umahum Vajaraguru Manmazeri 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 May all minds of all beings know me as wise and peaceful as the mind of a Buddha of laws and balanced by a one-syllable seed Bijam mantra oti clay drop. Om Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightened for speech and mind. Puckered palms overhead. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please fold your hands palm up in your lap. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please hold your palms before your throat. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatsita Siddhi Hum. Now I dare you not to imagine Fozzie Bear from the Muppet Show saying, Waka Waka Waka. Please place the center of your left palm upon your navel and the center of your right palm upon that. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatsita Siddhi Hum. At last, let's place your puckered palms before your sternum. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatsita Siddhi Hum. The Lama dissolves in delight and blends with me and our hearts on separability. I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama, the union of spontaneous awareness and emptiness. I pray to thee, protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Puwa. Bam! We come to Tantra's show, slicing offering, training in generosities, kindness of communication, conduct, and commerce, the third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Eightfold Path. I now give my body wealth and virtue with qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. And now we seal this evening's practice with a bit of the old well wishes. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel if you wish. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.